What if the most famous lost city wasn't lost at all, but hiding beneath a modern capital? Tenochtitlan, heart of the Mexica, often called Aztecs, was shattered in conquest, then rebuilt as Mexico City on its own bones. Today we'll track what truly vanished, what survived, and why myths still whisper about lost Aztec cities. And along the way, we'll meet vibrant marketplaces, sacred towers, gardeners of floating fields, and legends that refuse to sink. First, a name. Aztec is common, but the people of Tenochtitlan called themselves Mexica. Their capital rose from a shallow lake on engineered causeways and canals, with twin temples crowning the sacred precinct. On Chinampas, floating fields, they grew maize, beans, and flowers so abundantly that visitors described markets overflowing. This was urban design as power, water, stone, and ritual woven into a city that fed and astonished millions. So why call these places lost? Because conquest leveled temples, the lake was drained, and layers of streets buried sacred floors. But ruins remain under plazas, houses, and subway lines. The city sleeps inside the city. Archaeology keeps waking it. Courtyards, offerings, skull racks, and statues still surfacing after centuries of silence. In other words, the Mexico world is not a vanished legend. It's a layered reality we can still touch. Let's walk the Triple Alliance. Tenochtitlan, Texcoco, and Tlacopan, three capitals pulling dozens of towns into tribute networks. In Texcoco, poet engineers terraced hillsides and piped spring water to royal gardens like Tezcatzinco, where power and beauty met. Nearby Tlatelolco, sister city to Tenochtitlan, ran a market so vast that thousands traded cacao, obsidian, cotton, and polished jade. South and west, sites like Malinalco carved shrines straight from cliff rock, wrapping ritual into the mountain itself. Beyond the basin, towns rose and fell. Fortified hilltops, lakeside ports, and farming centers tied to the alliance by roads, canals, and duty. Now the myths. One origin story speaks of Aztlan and the Seven Caves, ancestral homes from which people set forth. Not a map you can Google, but a story that frames identity and migration. Another myth claims the Aztec cities vanished overnight, as if a curse swept the map clean. In reality, conquest, disease, and policy remade cities, stone by stone, into colonial towns. Treasure tales abound, Moctezuma's lost gold flowing through secret tunnels. Yet wealth wasn't only gold. It was labor, land, and tribute records stored in codices. What truly animated these cities were markets and merchants. The Pactica, who carried salt, shells, quetzal plumes, and news between regions. At Templo Mayor, twin shrines honored Huitzilopochtli and Tlaloc, offerings layered over time like pages of a city's diary. Human sacrifice shocks us today, but within Mexico belief it repaid a cosmic debt and bound state power to ritual cycles. Meanwhile, engineers stabilized the watery ground with piles and basalt, building causeways, sluices, and an aqueduct that threaded fresh water to the island. Chinampa agriculture turned mud into plenty. Raised beds edged by willow, replenished with lake sediment, harvested in rotation like clockwork. Picture daily life. Vendors haggling over cacao beans, scribes tallying tribute, dancers circling drums while children chase among flower stalls. So what is lost? Names of neighborhoods erased, temple colors faded, and memories folded into new streets. Yet foundations still answer the shovel. Walk today through downtown Mexico City and you can step from traffic into the sacred zone of Templo Mayor, where carved serpents still watch. In canals of Xochimilco, Chinampas survive. Farmers still pull boats through the same watery grid their ancestors kept alive. And in places like Texcoco and Tlatelolco, churches and markets sit atop older hearts, not to erase, but to layer a complicated story. Maybe the better phrase isn't lost cities, but layered cities. A reminder that cultures continue, adapt, and leave signals for us to read. If you're hunting legends, bring questions. What do local names remember? What do offerings reveal? Which canals still reflect the same moon? The myths keep us curious. The realities keep us honest. in that space between the Mexica cities speak, through stone, water, earth, and market noise. If this journey opened new ways to see the Aztec world, please like, subscribe, and share with a friend who loves history. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next story.